All right now, sincerest welcome. Get on in here and close the door. Listen, if you have been with me the last few weeks, you know that we have already tackled burnout, balance, the power of saying no. We talked about the trap of trying to do it all and why less is more. And today we're going to be taking it a step further and asking, who wrote your success script? And do you even like your story? What I mean by this is, are you truly living out your purpose, or did you settle somewhere along the way? This is something that was posed to me a few years back, and I'm going to be honest and say, when the question was asked to me and I had to think about the answer, I personally didn't like it. And so I'm going to be asking you some of the same questions and talking about it in the realest form, because this is one of the episodes that I hope is a turning point for you in creating the life that you desire and deserve. So, a couple of questions that I have for you today is, are you living right now in your dream house? Are you driving your dream car? Are you in a relationship with someone who is truly your person, that you know without a shadow of a doubt was designed especially for you? Are you working the dream job you said you wanted when you were younger? And the list goes on and on and on. But basically, I am asking, are you truly living out the person you were born to be? Or did somewhere along the way, did you settle for the version of who you are now? Because somewhere along this path, you've done so many things that were not your own desires that you just decided to continue to go with the flow. I left the pause of silence there because I wanted you to sit and think about that question. Because if I can share my honest opinion with you, I believe that most of us are following a script that we didn't write. A script shaped by society, family expectations, school, social media. My goodness, social media. Woo, the number of people that watch social media and wonder why they're not further along or attempt to live outside of their means is just crazy. But then you also have influence from workplace cultures. It's really everywhere. But just because something's handed to you doesn't mean that it's the right script for your life. And it doesn't matter who wrote it. Now, this is relative, but maybe a little bit out of sync with, the target audience, but it is the same to me. I have gone to the doctor and the doctor has said, oh, this is what you have, and I'm going to write you this script. But deep down inside, I don't feel like the doctor gave me the right diagnosis, and therefore I don't believe this medication is going to solve whatever it is that I'm going through. So I take the script from the doctor and I simply tear it up. I never fill the prescription because I don't believe the prescription matches the diagnosis. Okay. And on more occasions than not, I've actually been correct. And this is the same thing you can do with your life. So think about it. How did you define your dream life and what success would look like for you? Right? So, when was your dream chopped down until nothing was left except a longing to do more and be more? Meaning, when you get up every day out of the bed, are you getting up and you're loving where your life is headed? Are you loving where you're going to work? Are you loving the people you're going to see? Are you loving returning to home? Are you loving getting up and doing it again the next day? And if the answer is no, chances are you might not be aligned with who you said you want to be or who you know you were designed to be. What are the ideals of success were given to you that were never on your radar? Were there ideals about getting good grades, landing a secure job, getting married and having kids? Was it working harder than everyone else to prove your worth? Now, if I'm being honest, a lot of those things were given to me as well. That is why I'm asking you the questions. Unfortunately, most of these definitions often aren't our own, and it's okay to say that. They were passed down through generations, and they were reinforced by what we see around us every single day. I do remember very vividly during my childhood, the idea was always that I was going to go to a commercial type of school, like a vocational school, and they call some of them. And it was written for me that I would learn a trade and get a job. I absolutely despise that idea. Anybody who knows me today know that the last thing that I wanted to do is get up out of my bed and go to work. Everybody knows that. It's just not something that I had as a vision for myself. I also remember a time when I walked into an interview and they would ask that interview question that they probably ask everywhere, and it's, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And deep down, I knew the answer was, I hope not here, right? Like, I never saw myself at a job past probably just a few months. It was probably a job just to get me by, or to get me to something else that I wanted to do in my life. But I never really saw myself working at any company for 5 years. And if I'm being honest, I've never worked at any company for 5 years. I've never been anywhere for 5 years. And that's just because it just wasn't in me. I remember arguing with my family members and friends about what I wanted to do. And a lot of people, because I was the first college graduate in my family. So I'm that generation, what do they call it? I am a first generation college student. So I'm the first to go and graduate with my bachelor's degree. And I've, continued on even from there. And I just remember early on when I first got my degree, I was arguing with like family members and friends because I got my degree and I still continued to pursue an entrepreneurship path instead of a job. And it was, what are you going to do with your degree? And why won't you use it? And you need to think about your future. It's too risky being an entrepreneur, and you need to think about a secure future. It was so many things that was being thrown at me. And here's what I know for sure. A script written by someone else won't always fit. In fact, it won't fit most of the time because it's highly likely that those people are writing your script based on what they wanted to do and what their ideals are. And it absolutely has nothing to do with you. And I feel, and I could be wrong, but I feel like if you're in the least bit stuck in your life, if you're feeling unfulfilled, if you're always exhausted, or if you always seem like you're chasing someone else's version of success, then that is a great sign that it's time for you to stop right now and edit the script based on what you want for your life. Now, I want to preface this with, when I'm discussing something here, I am never judging you, the listener, because there's a 100% chance that I've already been where I'm talking about. That's why I'm so passionate about helping you trying to figure it out too. What I've learned is when we blindly follow the traditional success script, no matter what it is, when it's written by someone else, you are going to start to experience and live in place of voids. You will consistently experience burnout. You will consistently experience dissatisfaction. you will constantly feel like you're stuck. Sometimes it's the feeling like you're doing everything right, but then you're still not happy. Sometimes it's you're not getting out of it what you think you should. Like you're putting way more in and you're getting a little bit out. I have learned from experience that when that is happening, you are not truly aligned with your purpose. You are not truly aligned with who you were designed to be. And that is when you will have to take a step back to pray, meditate, journal, talk to other people, but you're going to have to figure out how to get back on track. I've seen firsthand and I've experienced this. I used to be in tears because everyone thought my life was going so well. Now, don't get me wrong. I have made a lot of accomplishments in my life. Some of the accomplishments that I made won't ever happen in a lifetime for most people, and I am so blessed and I am so thankful. But even with all that success, I still felt like something was missing. I still felt like I wasn't where I was destined to be. And I know that other people, I still feel like I've made a lot of accomplishments in my life. Now, some of those accomplishments won't happen for a lifetime for most people, but even with all that success, I still felt like something was off. I still felt like I wasn't where I was destined to be in several areas of my life. I also know other people who said they felt like they went through life checking off all the right boxes, like they did literally all the right things, but they still wake up daily wondering, is this really it? Is this all there is to life? Am I only going to get up and go to work and pay bills and take a vacation, you know, a couple times a year and just keep doing that over and over again until I leave this earth? Do you know why that is? Like why those people ask those questions? It's because even if they obtain success, but there is no personal fulfillment, then it's really just a personal prison. Like you're literally holding yourself hostage from truly living life. So how do you break free and take control of your narrative? Like how do you rewrite that script for yourself? First and foremost, you're going to have to define success for you. What are the things that actually matter to you? If money, titles, and social approval didn't matter, what would success look like for you? Number two, you're going to have to challenge those old beliefs. Just because something has been done a certain way doesn't mean it's right for you, and it doesn't mean it's relevant for this time. So many things have changed that we can't be using scripts from 40 or 50 years ago because the world has changed dynamically. You have to identify what feels out of alignment and write down what you would ultimately desire despite any old beliefs, whether that is with you, whether that is within you, or whether someone provided those beliefs to you. Number three, start small, right? You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Now, sometimes I know it feels so off that you're like, I have to do something. I have to get out of this. I have to just change everything all at once. But that's typically not ever the best approach. All you have to do is small shifts, saying no to something that doesn't serve you and replacing that with something that prioritizes joy for you. Or maybe it's changing how you measure success. Maybe it's starting a new hobby or learning a new skill that is more in alignment with who you want to be. Starting small and making small shifts can lead to big changes over time. Number four, surround yourself with expanders. Now, this is a big one, right? People who have taken the steps to live life on their own terms are the only people that can show you what's possible. There is a saying, and it's called your network is your net worth. And for me, that's not only in terms of money. It's in terms of your joy. It's in terms of your fulfillment for your life. It's in terms for the how much motivation you have. If you're hanging out with people who lack vision all the time, if you're hanging out with people who are not going for their dreams, if you're hanging out with people who have settled and decided that because of my old age, I'm just going to stay right here and just keep doing this, and if you hang around people who have lost sight of their way, then you will lose your vision too. And what does the word say? Where there is no vision, people will perish. And for me, I don't take that just literally, I take that figuratively. Meaning, like when you wake up doing something that doesn't fulfill you every single day, that's what happened to you. Your dreams perish, your desires perish. So, if you don't want that to happen, then one of the things that you're going to have to do for your own good is change up your circle. Now, I know some of you are thinking that sounds good, but maybe you're wondering, like, is it too late for you? Should you just keep going? Let me pull out my motivational book right here, and I'm going to let you know about a few people who became successful at 30, 40, 50, and even older. Okay, these are just a few people, and there are men who have done this, but for the sake of this being the educator sanctuary, heavy on the her, I just pulled up the list of women. And Oprah Winfrey, she worked as a reporter. But she didn't get her syndicated talk show and become successful and well known until she was in her 30s. Toni Morrison, she wrote her first novel at nearly 40, and then she won her first Pulitzer Prize when she was in her 50s. Then you have Julia Child. She published her first cookbook when she was in her late 40s. Vera Wang was in her 40s when she opened her first boutique in New York. Mary Kay, that cosmetic company, she didn't launch that until her mid 40s. Wally Funk was the oldest woman to ever go to space. Y'all, she went in her 80s. Then you have Iris Apfel. She became a well-known interior designer in her 80s. When she passed when she passed at 102 years old, she basically became an icon. Y'all, 80 years old is when she started. So if you're 30, 40, 50, that means you still have a lot of life left in you, and age should not determine anything. I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down. And what I'm putting down is that it's never too late. The only limit is you. The only thing that's stopping you is you. The only place that change is not taking place is in your mind, right? So now that you know that age is nothing but a number and you are the only person that's in your way, here's my homework for you this week. Please, please, please take a moment to look at the success script that you have been following all this time and ask yourself, who wrote this script? Was it a mom? Was it a dad? Was it a grandmother, a brother, a sister? Was it a teacher, a counselor? Who wrote the script? And do you like the story? If you do not like your story, it is time for you to start writing a new one that actually fits the life and the narrative that you want to live. Start with something simple. Just journal your desires. No matter how big or small they are, it doesn't matter whether you think you can afford it or not. It doesn't matter whether you think you can achieve it or not. It doesn't matter if you think you'll have support or not. What do you want? What do you want? Journal this as if everything is possible. Because the truth is, it very much is. Lastly, I believe in you. So until next time.